Hi, I'm Doombabe, and this is my channel. If you're watching my KOTOR video, I said there was like this creepy guy standing in the middle of my parking lot, and now he's like sort of walking closer to my window, and I'm kind of freaking out now. I've seen this get asked a million, billion, jillion times, and that is what are the differences between the formats in Magic the Gathering? And like to start off, Magic has something like 20 different formats. I think I just watched a drug deal. Magic has something of like 20 or 25 different formats, and that's not including the like sort of fan-made ones. That's way too much for me to get into in just one video, so what I'm doing is I'm going over the more popular ones. And in this video, we're going to be going over Standard, Modern, Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Draft. These are almost all constructed formats, meaning they have a minimum of 60 cards, there's no maximum deck size as long as you can shuffle your deck unassisted, no more than 4 of any individual card in your main deck and your sideboard combined, with the exception of basic land. And you can use up to 15 cards in your sideboard if you decide to have a sideboard. Now, I'll kick it off with what is definitely the most popular format in Magic. Standard is like the missionary position of Magic. 9 times out of 10, the first tournament you ever go to will be Standard, and as time goes on, you realize that it's not really your favorite format and it's not too exciting. It uses only the last 2 blocks to be released and the corresponding core set. Every late September or early October, depending on just how Wizards decides to work it out, the oldest block gets cycled out as the newest block is released. It's very rare for Standard to have a banned list, so that isn't something that you really need to concern yourself with if you're just getting into tournament play, and you do decide that the first tournament you want to go to is a Standard tournament. Right now, Standard consists of Fate Reforged, which will be effective January 23rd of 2015, Khans of Tarkir, M15, or Magic 2015 core set, Journey into Nyx, Born of the Gods, and Theros being the oldest set in the block. After Standard comes Modern, which is what I would consider the reverse cowgirl position of Magic. It's when you're branching out into newer things, but you're still not brave enough to really test the waters. In terms of competitiveness and combo abilities, it's definitely a step up from Standard, but it still has a very familiar feel because many of the cards that are frequently used in Modern are still in the sort of newer Magic card style, as well as you don't really come across a lot of abilities and mechanics that are difficult to understand. As the name implies, Modern consists of every set from original Mirrodin block and 8th edition. Unlike Standard, however, Modern does have a banned list. This means that no amount of these cards can be played in any sanctioned Modern event. And if you plan on playing competitively and are a little worried about the financial aspect of it, there is a significant price jump between top-tier Standard and top-tier Modern decks. Commander, or EDH, is the next constructed format that is extremely popular. Commander is something of a snowflake in Magic because it's totally different from all of the other formats. It's a casual, non-sanctioned format where your life total starts at 40 as opposed to the usual 20, and your deck is composed of 100 single cards. Exactly 100. Out of those 100 cards, 1 card is your general or your commander. This card is a legendary creature that you should choose very wisely because not only does it dictate the style of your deck, but you also can only use cards that have the same color identity as your commander. Color identity is the colors that make up the rules text of your card. So the converted mana cost and any abilities, or even just any mana symbol on that card at all. The exception is reminder text. This also applies to hybrid costs. When the game starts, you remove the commander from your deck and place it in the command zone, which is sort of like the made-up fairyland where nothing can harm your commander. You can cast it from the command zone as normal. However, when your commander dies or gets exiled, you may choose to have it sent back to the command zone. If you do, you can cast it as normal for its original mana cost, plus 2 for every time it has previously been in the command zone that game. Another fun fact about commanders, if you deal 21 points of combat damage with your commander to your opponent, that person loses. Commander's ban list is actually probably double what the modern ban list looks like, but it doesn't really limit you all that much because Commander, or EDH, allows you to use every set that's ever been printed in Magic. Legacy is really like the last step before heading into the dark, murky waters of ultra-competitive and mildly scary format. It is like the wheelbarrow positioned with fuzzy handcuffs. It follows the basic constructed rules as normal, but it allows every Magic set, any addition of core sets, and all the special sets and promotional printing, such as cards from the Vault, the Conspiracy set, and the cards that were printed in Commander. What separates this format from the next one, however, is the banned list. It has a massive 70 card banned list that includes the Power 9. Don't get me wrong, Legacy is still considered a highly competitive and extremely expensive format, but I'd rather play this than the next format, which is Vintage, the propeller position of Magic with all of the BDSM trinkets. Just like with Legacy, you can use any set with fancy printings, but it has a significantly smaller ban list of only 20 cards. However, this format has a special restricted list of, I think, 35 or 40 cards, which means that of the cards in this list, you can only have one copy in your deck and your sideboard combined. Not only does the cost of a competitive Vintage deck average out at much higher than Legacy, sometimes costing thousands upon thousands of dollars, but the amount of insane shenanigans knows seemingly no bounds. This is a format where if you want to play with the big boys, you need to bring the big guns. To wind things down, I want to finish things off with the booster draft. Unlike the previously mentioned formats, drafts are not events where you show up with a meticulously constructed deck. You start the draft by opening up the first of 3 booster packs and choosing one card from it. Once you have chosen your card, you pass the rest of the cards from the pack to the person on your left. You then look at the cards from what you received from the person on your right, you pick a card from that set, and you pass it to the left again until no more cards are left out of that pack. You open the next pack, and you do the same thing, but you pass it to the person on your right. By the third pack, you are passing to the left again. Once there are no cards left, you then construct a deck of at least 40 cards. The cards you decide you don't want in your main deck, you can use as a sideboard. That's it for Magic the Gathering Formats Part 1. In the next video, I will be going over Two-Headed Giant, Sealed, Pauper, and Tribal Wars. Until then, I will see you guys later. Peace.